Hi, I'm Isabel Gruber.
And I'm Emma Allstott, and we're from Webster County. Our presentation is the Iowa Kosovo Sister City Youth Exchange.
So, did you know that Kosovo has a historical partnership with our state, Iowa? Kosovo is the second newest country in the world, and it's among the smallest in Europe. Although Kosovo is a rather small country, it's beautiful and full of rich, inspiring culture. And we've been fortunate enough to have firsthand experience that culture due to our travels last year to Kosovo. So first we're going to discuss the people and culture of Kosovo, then we're going to talk about the historical partnership, and finally we're going to talk about our experiences in Kosovo.
First, we'll get into the people, culture, and landscape of Kosovo. Kosovo became a country and gained freedom in 1999, and in 2008, they were declared an independent country. The location is the West Balkan region in Europe, and the surrounding countries are Macedonia, Serbia, Montenegro, and Albania.
And the ethnic groups in Kosovo are really diverse, consisting of Kosovar Albanians, Serbians, Bosnians, Turks, South Slavs, and Croatians. And the language is primarily Albanian, seconded by Serbian. And age-wise, the population is very, very young, and only 27% of people are above the age of 45. And the religion is primarily Islam, seconded by Eastern Orthodox Christianity.
The landscape is very beautiful, as you can see here. They technically have a landscape similar to Iowa, but add mountains, which is very interesting to the landscape. They have really pretty waters and mountains and lots of interesting sights you can see.
So now we're going to talk about the historical partnership and the sister city relationship. So Kosovo became a country in 1999, and in that time they were fighting a war against Serbians for their freedom, and President Bill Clinton intervened and sent NATO to send the Iowa National Guard to come to Kosovo and help bring peace to the land. So due to our assistance, they were able to get freedom and become their own country. And therefore, in 2013, Governor Branstad signed on to make us have a partnership and an exchange.
So the sister cities in exchange consists of Fort Dodge having a sister city, Jakova, and Johnston having a sister city, Pea. And students from both cities have traveled to Kosovo to be part of an exchange through 4-H in a program similar to 4-H called Toga in Kosovo. And so there has been a lot of relationships that have been built through that and help make the exchange even stronger and our relationship stronger.
So now we're going to talk about our trips and our experiences in Kosovo. And we began in the United States and flew to Germany, where we had a little layover, and then we went to Kosovo. And then on our ride back from Kosovo, we flew to Austria and spent some time there.
So our little layover was actually 12 hours, and so we got to go around Munich, Germany, and see some sights there, which was really interesting and kind of a surprise to us because we only expected to be in Kosovo that much.
And then we traveled to Jakova, Fort Dodge's sister city, and we met with our host families where we had some tours and explored the city.
So this was my host family. When we first got to Jakova, we were placed with host families that we stayed with for 2 or 3 days while we were in the city. And although we were all in a group when we went through the tours and some activities, we got a lot of free time to spend with their families and just see the city. So I was with Amira, and up there is a picture of her mom, and her grandma, and I. And it ended up being perfect matches for all of our host families because we all had a lot in common with our host friend, and it worked out really well.
This is my host family, the Genie family. So I stayed at the mayor of Jakova's house, Artie and Genie, and my host was Yona Genie, and she was really similar to me too. We both are going to go into the medical field and stuff, and they had 2 other kids in the family in their historical family house, so that was really interesting.
And then one thing you learned while you were there was that the culture says that it's disrespectful to offer all the food in your house. So while we were there, they kept offering more and more food, and my host family just kept saying, eat, eat. So one thing we did while we were there was we had lunch on a very beautiful lake, and that lake is actually the water source for Jakova, and it was really pretty to see that.
And then another thing we did every night in Jakova was go out to, they called it the forest, but it's more like the woods, what we would call the woods. And they'd have a bonfire, and we just all chat about culture and about our lives and stuff, and that was really interesting. And then in the upper right picture, we're at a historical cafe in Jakova in their like city square.
So after being in Jakova, we went to Camp Toka in the capital, Pristina, and we were with around 30 kids from all different countries. So these are all the countries that were represented: the United States, Kosovo, Albania, Macedonia, Israel, Palestine, and France.
And this is our camp area. The area to the left was like our cabins. They were all in a row. And then on the right side, that's the picture of like the place where we ate dinner and stuff, like just the hangout area.
These were some pictures when we actually went into the Capitol. And right here is the newborn sign and monument. And every year it's painted with a different idea and value. So the year we went, it was all about conservation and respecting our environment. But this year it was painted in memorial of like rape, people who have faced rape and things like that. And then off to the far corner is another monument called the Hairnet, and it's made out of 20,000 bullets, each one to represent someone who was killed or raped during the war. And that's only the recorded number. There were still a lot that were afraid to come out and say that they faced that.
And then when we went to Peja for a service project, so back at camp in Pristina, we sanded wood and painted wood and got ready to build trash bins and shelves for the schools because they don't really have them at their elementary schools. And then we traveled to Peja and implemented those in the elementary schools.
It was really interesting to see some of the kids while we were in Peja. They didn't quite understand where we came from or what we were doing, but they were excited to have new bookshelves. And then we went to Peja on our way to the Rogova Mountains, where we stayed in cabins for the last 2 nights. And we got to go hiking on an international trail. So we were actually in Montenegro for a couple of minutes. And when we got to our destination, it was this really beautiful lake, and we ate lunch there. And we found out that groups before us had went swimming in it, but while we were there, they told us that there were snakes in the water, which there actually weren't. But so we missed out on that, but it was really fun either way. So Kosovo is one of the newest and smallest countries in Europe, and through the relationship between Iowa and Kosovo, we've been able to learn from each other and really get more understanding of each other. And so that's why the relationship has been very important. Well, this concludes our presentation. Thank you for listening.